documents where we can really say that our history had dated back up to even before Christ. But what we have for now is just like up to 15th century and maybe earlier with the Majapahit, as they say that we're part of the Majapahit Empire, but yet we still have to get some documents. So what we are doing for Cebu in terms of heritage tourism. So right now, we have already revolutionized our heritage tourism. So we're coming up with a new map. Thanks to Butch Karongay for helping us with this. So we have already coming up with a heritage map. So maybe if you will be able to see the once we will be able to distribute the maps, if your facility, your building is not yet there, so let us know so we will be able to include that in our maps. So every year we will update it. But of course, we have to have basis for including that. So we all know the usual that we have, it's the paseo sa Kabilin. So for so many years, we always have still paseo sa Kabilin, heritage walk, the Spanish heritage. So I will just like to show you that these are the usual that we have been including in our heritage walk, like the Fort San Pedro, Plaza Independencia, Basilica del Santo Niño, the Magellan's Cross, and then, of course, the obelisk. And then, I think there was a marker before for the Colon Bridge, but unfortunately, the marker is no longer there. So we have not included that because maybe Chuck will look into it. Then, of course, the Cebu Heritage Monument, Casa Gorordo, the Jesuit House, the Giap San Diego, and then also the Chinese museum. Although it's now, but it's then the Compañía Maritima, but it's still under renovation. Okay, so in order for us to really make Cebu City attractive in terms of heritage tourism, we did not limit ourselves in just promoting on the Spanish heritage. So we came up with new product line. So what we launched last year was the American Heritage Tour. So our American Heritage Tour usually starts with the provincial capital. Although the provincial capital was completed after the turnover of the Philippines, or the independence of the Philippines, but yet the structure is based on in American architecture. And then we have the Rizal Museum and Library. So if you say the facade of the library, it's just like one of the mansions in Rhode Island. And then, of course, the Fuente Circle. So maybe some of you may not know that the Fuente Circle is connected with the Buhisan Dam. Yeah, because the Buhisan Dam was constructed during the American time to address the problem of cholera. So they had that Fuente fountain. It's a way at I think it's the control. The original control is in that area. And then when the Buhisan Dam and the Fuente Osmeña circle was like celebrated 100 years. So that's the time the fountain was rehabilitated. And then, of course, the Malacanang sa Subo. So it's also American building. And then, of course, the Compañía Maritima. And then the City Hall. So City Hall is also based on an American architecture. Although just like the Capitol, it was completed in 1947 after the American time. And then we have also a number of churches that are on not on the Catholic side, but on the other religious sect, like the Mormons. Yeah, it's a Mormons. Then Bradford, yes, of course, Bradford. And then we also have a number of houses that are based on American architecture, like the Borromeo House, and then the Casa Gororo. No, no, not the Casa Gorodo. Circa. Circa. Oh, yes, and the Circa in Lahog. So those are the structures that are part of the American Heritage Tour. And maybe if you have maybe we have missed some of those structures, you can just also inform us so that we will be able to also include them in our future tours. And then aside from the American Heritage Tour, we came up also the Highland Pilgrimage Tour. So although it's not in terms of history, may not that long, but they can also provide like especially our Highland Pilgrimage Tour. It's more on the Catholic religion. So we have that in the North Mountain Barangay. So we already have this the Calvary Mountain. Then there are some churches as well as monasteries in the Tabor Hills and in Guba. And then there's the Mediatrix Church. So we have already a number of facilities in the North Mountain barangays. And then lastly, although we have not yet launched it, we also have the Japanese Heritage Tour because we all know that we also had this period in our history that we were under the Japanese regime. Although we have not yet launched it because we have to also take into account the sensibilities of the people because, war. But then we take inspiration from the monument in Nagasaki, Japan and in Hiroshima, Japan, that they made it possible in order for us to have, to look and then look back and learn the ills of war. Okay, and then talking about war, we also we have just recently given the task by Mayor Rama that we will handle the veterans cemetery. Yes, in Labangon. So it's also part of our heritage coming up, part of our heritage tourism. Because we have, if you visit that cemetery in Labangon, aside from the Filipino veterans, daghan kaayong ang mga apelido, mga Amerikano gyud tanan. So that's the thing that we can also be part of our heritage tourism. And then also the one in hopefully the church will be able to complete their plans at the Calamba Cemetery where ang atong Chak, they had already had it declared as one of our heritage place. So those things for now that we're having as part of our heritage tourism. And we hope with your help and then with the Cebuano studies, with the church heritage, we will be able to come up with more products that we can showcase to our visitors because our purpose in having all these new products is in order for people, for the tourists to stay longer in Cebu City. Kaya ang atong naandan, mustay lang sila sa Cebu City, pagkahuman, manghalakaw na ato sila yung lugar. Of course, we want also for them to explore other places, but then it's also a lot better that they can also experience the being here in the city and longer and being able to see all the beautiful places that we have. And I would like to, and aside from we already come up with the map, we also came up during this time, during the pandemic, with our virtual heritage tour. And I would like to show you the virtual heritage tour.
Hey there, it's me again, Jill, your virtual tour attendant. I made that all up, and I hope you don't mind. My best friend Jack and I have actually agreed to take you to another adventure. Today, though, I made Jack choose the theme for this next Cebu City tour. And guess what? he made a very formidable, imposing, and awe-inspiring choice.
Yes, it's my precious turn to invite you to the streets of Cebu City as we get up close and personal with the most historic landmarks in what is Davos, the American Heritage Tour.
The American occupation of the Philippines started in 1898 and it ran for almost half a century. It is therefore not surprising that the American way of life is already embedded in Philippine culture and is vividly on display in our ways of life, the way we communicate, and even on how we positively respond to most things American. What we are about to showcase, though, are the imprints of American inspired and built architecture on the city landscape. From centers of governance to educational institutions, ancestral homes, and even places of worship, the enduring quality and the aesthetic value of these landmarks remain over a century after these were built. Yes, these structures have withstood the test of time from the onslaught of years, an earthquake here and there, even a world war, and the inevitable changes brought about by the development of Cebu as a highly urbanized city. These structures proudly remain. We in the Philippines are a proud mix of heritages that span hundreds of years, truly a melting pot of the best the world has to offer. The fact that a great number of these symbols and reminders are still around is by itself a blessing. Meaningful reminders of who we are as a nation and the glorious past worth celebrating and showcasing again and again. Our American heritage is a gift for generations to come. Like the structures our ancestors have helped build for us, our calling is to continually preserve these memories as we move forward through time, ever proud, ever fulfilled, unyielding, and free. Hey there,
Oh, wait.
me again,
Wait.
Jill.
Sorry. Ay, nawagtang. Okay. So, as I mentioned earlier, we already have an inventory of sites and places. However, not all can be part as of now of our tour packages because they are not yet ready. And in fact, like in F. Gonzales, there's an building there that has been constructed during American time. And then, but yet it's used as a bodega. And the Madrigal buildings in near port area. Yes, but yet it cannot be also be made as part of tourism because it's not used as a, but it's still used as a bodega. So there are a lot number of buildings and structures which has that has really long history. However, one, it's not ready. Two, their owners are not amenable. Like for example, as we have shown in our virtual tour, American tour, one of the houses is the Garcia ancestral house. It's built during American time. However, it's not really that open to the public. So what they can offer is just like a photo outside their place. But then the our host for that video were able to get in because we had only special pass. So those things that we have been done and doing for tourism in terms of heritage, and we hope with a partnership with Chak and Chow and with different sectors, different establishments, we will be able to come up with more tourism heritage packages. And in fact, one thing also that I would like to share during the tourism month, we had already launched the Heritage Award. So by next year, we will be giving out the first Heritage Award. We will be awarding those structures, um, either structures, and then also for developers and owners and institutions who really maintain all these structures. Yeah, so of course we have to partner with CHAC because they are the institution in terms of heritage. And as for tourism, we will be the one promoting all these structures. Thank you.
Once again, a big round of applause for Honorable Jocelyn Joy Pesquera, our speaker on heritage and tourism. Councilor Joy, we ask you to remain on stage. Okay. I would like to ask first our audience, do we have questions or insights that you would like to ask? Especially that Cebu is a tourism driven economy. And we know that Cebu is also a heritage city. So do we have some questions, insights, reactions? Again, violent or non-violent, we are open to those kinds of reactions. If there are none, then we shall proceed to give the plaque of appreciation to Honorable Jocelyn Joy Pesquera for sharing her time and insights for this afternoon. The plaque is to be awarded by Dr. Clodoveo Luwin Acorda, one of our commissioners, to be accompanied by Mr. Brainer L. Diaz, the Division Chief of the Cultural and Historical Affairs Commission. Councilor Joy is requesting the presence of Sir Butch. Please come up on stage and join Honorable Joy Pesquera. All right. Once again, let's all give a round of applause for their efforts in the Cebu City Tourism Commission as they also help promote our heritage sites and heritage, our Cebu City heritage. All right. Before we proceed to our welcome dinner this evening, I shall give some reminders for tomorrow's session. Tomorrow will be day 2, and we are not going to have our session here, but we are going to have our session at St. Martin Hall at the 2nd floor. Okay? I'd like to repeat that. Our sessions tomorrow will not be here in Ninia Hall, but our sessions will be held upstairs